heavy equipment. Care, precaution when operating around our lines. We've had in the last week heavy equipment hitting poles, trucks pulling down lines, excavation for construction damaging our underground cables, and there is a follow-on effect. Each time we have an incident, while we have redundancies built into the system for reliability, it reduces our capacity to respond. And the more incidents and we are addressing at one point in time, at any given time, that often results in at some point not being able to respond optimally to an incident, and then we have a cascading outage.
Okay, so I'm going to start at the vehicle accidents, because as simple as they may appear sometimes, they really cause a great amount of inconvenience to, it could be an entire feeder, an entire community, just by someone who really did not take due care and attention and caution while driving. So I know you made that appeal earlier, and I really want to really strengthen that appeal, because your negligence or your inability to drive cautiously can really, really cause significant and severe inconvenience for persons. And if I were to ask you, Colin, to just walk through what it takes to repair a downed pole after a vehicle accident, and the amount of man hours and the amount of labor, the amount of equipment and material that needs to be used, and inconvenience, persons will be recognized. When you're driving, you really should be cautious, but be extremely cautious when you see the poles.
It's considerable. We could not walk through it on here today, and it's not just limited to what we see in the field. Every fault has an impact across the company on our operations. At the power plant, they have to change their mode of operation and respond as well, as distant as the power plant may seem from the site of an accident. And even our customer service capacity, when we have to deal with the volume of calls and reassuring customers, it takes a considerable amount of resource to respond to an outage. As far as preemptively, we're constantly improving our capacity, our technical capacity and our human resource capacity. And that reliability, the matter of reliability depends on being able to invest those resources in improving capacity as opposed to responding to faults when they do happen.
Okay, so I know sometimes you're using some words that the average listener might not be able to understand. So when you use words like redundancies, what exactly do you mean? Or what do you mean when you say that the power plant would have to respond as well? Because sometimes people don't understand this.
Okay. So in terms of redundancies, as much as it is economically and technically possible, we design the network and operate the network such that there's no single point of failure. So if one circuit, one way of getting power to a community has a fault, has a damage, we as much as possible try to have alternate routes to get power into that community.
So it's a bunch of backup plans.
It's a bunch of backup.
Okay.
And that those redundancies are backups. Start from the field right up to the power station. As well, when we're operating, let's call it in a mode, we're in an impaired mode. So one circuit is down, and we have to put those customers on another circuit. We have to not overload, but load beyond our usual operating levels, other parts of the circuit. We're operating in a mode that we know is sensitive, so now all our operations, it impacts our maintenance, it impacts our operations at the power plant, where we are operating precautiously, given that we're operating, I don't want to say in an impaired mode, but a reduced capacity mode.
Gotcha. So we spoke about the traffic accidents. What are some of the other causes? Because joining SKELEC, I learned of some of the simplest things that can cause an outage. And I know the last time we were here, we spoke about, with hurricanes, how we deal with restoration. So I know it's two big questions, really, put together as one. But if you can just summarily tell us, what are some of the other major causes of outages?
In general, anything that would come into contact with our energized circuits will cause an outage. So vegetation on our lines, keeping our lines cleared, is one aspect. You'll see that one most prominently when we have storms or inclement weather, high humidity, high rain. Vegetation allows other parts for the electricity to flow outside of the network. Dangerous, causes fires, affects property, affects our system as well. So we have a continuous program to keep our lines and our circuits cleared. General maintenance is very important. All the equipment out there requires routine preventative inspection and maintenance to keep it in proper working order. As you say, as we are aware, if you do not maintain it, it will degrade in time, especially in our environment or salt water in the air, sea blast as we call it. Does have a degrading effect on much of the electrical equipment in our lines. The underground network, not as susceptible to the salt, but the salt in the air and the external factors. However, maintaining an underground network also has its challenges. So overall, what our approach to reliability is twofold. Redundancies for when something fails, backup plans, backup routes, and also preemptive, proactive, routine inspection and maintenance to catch failures before they do occur.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Brown. And I'm going to end the program exactly where we started, by assuring our customers that at SKELEC, the St. Kitts Electricity Company Limited, we work tirelessly. I don't think they understand that sometimes, Mr. Brown. I think sometimes the patience of our customers, it really grows weary, and we get a lot of licks. It's not anything that you can't take when you start working at SKELEC. But we work tirelessly. I can tell you there was about 35 persons who were actively working when we had our island-wide power outage last Thursday. That's a huge amount of persons. And these are persons working committedly to ensure that power is restored. Because contrary to popular belief, we don't like when outages occur. Our job is to ensure that the nation remains powered. And we don't like when outages occur. And whenever an outage does occur, no matter how big or small it is, we put our boots on the ground and we get what we need to get done. So on behalf of the company, I would like to apologize again to our customers about the island-wide outages, as well as some of the outages that have been occurring. We also want to take the opportunity, as we would have mentioned earlier, to encourage drivers to be very cautious of lines and wires and poles whenever you're driving, because it really causes significant impact to communities whenever there is an outage there. So for your own safety and ours and everyone's convenience, please be a cautious driver. Not only because of an outage, but because we don't want to see anyone's life lost, etc. But thank you for joining us today for another edition of PowerTalk. It has been great being here with you, and we'll see you again next month when we'll tell you all of what's happening at SKELEC.
I believe we may have a little bit more time, Patrice.
We have a little bit more time?
Yes. Any other matter we'd like to touch on?
Any other matter that we like to touch on at SKELEC?
In light of the outages, I'd like to remind our customers of a process for where customers have concerns that the outages may have impacted their appliances.
Okay, yes. Walk them through that.
So where customers have concerns that an outage or any other concern with electricity supply may have damaged their appliances at home, we have a damage appliance claim and investigation procedure. Within 48 hours, you're asked to call 465-2013, 465-2000. Make a report, it will be logged, and then within 2 days of the incident, submit a claim in writing outlining the sequence of events, the damaged item, and what you're seeking in compensation. We go out, investigate the claim, and our intention is within a timely period to come back with a report and and an indication to you of our culpability and whether we'll honor the claim or not.
But it's no guarantee, but we really want you to be able to come in and report if there has been any damage, and there is an investigation that takes place. All right. Thank you for joining me, Colin, and thank you for those of you who have stayed with us. We'll see you again when we return next month. Have a great day, everyone.